This is what the pieces would, but you scatter around your board, similar if you were scattering the battleships, if we're familiar with that game. But the whole idea is to locate the pieces. When you locate them, by saying things like Zone 13 to your opponent. Now you're looking for these pieces. Zone 13, and he would say, yes, and then he would hand you this, and you would put it in here, okay? So you start to assemble this. The whole idea is to assemble the entire UFO, and that means to do that, you have to find the pieces, okay? That's how the game works. Now, there's cool things on here as well, what you put around your UFO and other things, are these cool pieces. Now, here's... and you get 4 of each of these. Here's an actual, it says, I don't know if you can see that. It says danger. So it's danger, that's an old mine. So that's an abandoned mine. You also have this, excuse me, which is a snake. And of course you have, let me put this on here, maybe we can get a better shot that way. Now that's an actual wolf or coyote. You could say it's probably a coyote in the desert. And of course, let's see if we can get these pieces here, give you a little better look. I mean, these are really nice. I mean, they took time to mold these well and make quality. So here's the abandoned mine again. You know, these things are all little works of art. People don't appreciate toys. I do, because I know the kind of work that goes into them. And nothing is made and produced easily. And everything costs a lot of money. Each one of these has to be made into a mold, has to be carefully carved, and so forth. So here's an actual snake. Pretty cool. So you get these pieces, and of course, then you get the actual pieces here. And these are the parts of the... Put that in there, maybe you can see a little better. These are parts of the UFO. And you need 6 of these plus the center insert to assemble. And the pieces are pretty much all the same. Here's another piece. So that's what you're hunting for. And then when you call out the right section, looking for the right piece, if you're right, zone 15, well, that would then be put in your actual circle here. And let me take those out for the time being here so we can kind of show you this. Okay, so when you get a piece of your UFO, you then insert it in here. So let's say you got a piece, and this is then inserted in here, just like that. And you keep assembling it as you get the pieces, and they fit together. Here we see how that fits together until you fully assemble it. Now, how do you get those pieces, and what are these? So you've also got 4 actual buttons here. So when someone calls out a number, let's say they call out zone 20. Your opponent calls out zone 20. Well, what's on zone 20? Well, that's a mine. It's a mine shaft where there's danger, and then you let your opponent know that. Can you hear that? How cool is that? So you can actually let the person know, which adds to the excitement, especially if you're using this as a psychic tool. You know, you're looking for that kind of reward. Let's say you said zone 29. Well, that's a coyote's on there. So you wouldn't tell the person, oh, that's a coyote, or that's a piece of the ship. If the guy lands on it, let's say lands on here, zone 12, well, that's where one of the pieces of the UFO is. So this is what separates it from the pretty bad Battleship. Now, Battleship has all sorts of cool versions with sounds and even instructions from commanders and everything else that they've done now. But in general, they're kind of boring with most of it. Now, of course, there's the actual other image, which if someone would say Zone 32, well, that's a snake. So you give them a snake sound. Well, isn't that cool? And if you get no sounds, let's say the person said Zone 26, and you got no sound, well, like with Battleship, you record that you already called that out, and there was nothing there. And you wouldn't do anything because you didn't hear any sound. So it has to be one of the 4 sounds or no sound. And if it's no sound, it means that you have to. So if you called out Zone 3 and there was nothing there, well, you would record Zone 3 as nothing being there and put one of these many. Because you get a whole bunch of these little cactus. So this is really a smart, fun game built on a premise that we all know works, which is the fun hunt and seek. But this is the perfect hunt and seek game for psychic empowerment, and that's the beauty of it. So you keep getting, so you assemble them eventually like this. So you get all the pieces. When you get all the pieces together, you have found the spaceship. Snake. Deadly mine. Danger. And of course, the fact that you're hunting for a UFO kind of brings it into modern times instead of looking for military ships and all that constant military bombardment we have. Now, when you've done this, you also get once you've completed the ship, you have to put in the power system. Now, the power drive system is this. It's a little plastic thing that kind of holds it all together, but there's a mystery surprise to that. Now, the mystery surprise is that this is then inserted in the center, but there's more to that. So it lights up as well. Is that cool as can be? So you get all those cool sounds, and of course, these are great as just motivators when you're using things psychically, but there's a whole way to use this psychically. We go into that in the special buyer videos that I take you through personally, giving you all sorts of tips on how to do things, showing you in living color how to use this tool in a more psychic way. Here's just kind of a tour for the average game user. And probably nobody's ever heard of this stuff. I've hunted this types of things for many, many years and have found everything and spent an awful lot of money doing research, looking for things that we can use to make fun psychic experiences with. Cards and other things are boring. So, very boring and very problematic.